Our story begins in a classroom, with everyone getting ready for a major unified exam. Just then, Professor Chen Fan arrives to give the final instructions to the students taking the tests for both liberal arts and martial arts. He lays it on them straight, saying the martial arts exam is a lost cause for anyone with a low-level ability. That's when we meet our protagonist, Xu Jingming, who is actually transported to this world out of nowhere. This new place is called Blue Star, pretty similar to his old world, but now it's infested with monsters. To fight these creatures, some humans have awakened superpowers and are holding the line. In this world, everyone can awaken their abilities at 16 years old, and they come in all shapes and sizes. These powers are divided into 9 levels, but most people only manage to learn skills from F rank to D rank. To make matters worse, Xu Jingming's ability is a wimpy E rank electricity, barely stronger than a taser. A classmate comes over and asks why he still wants to take the martial arts exam. A bully shows up to give him a hard time, calling him worthless and saying he'd only embarrass the school, telling him to just be a regular person. Out of nowhere, a girl with purple hair stands up and tells the blonde kid named Huang Tian to mind his own business. Huang Tian glares at her and says that during the exam, he'll show everyone who's boss. As he leaves, Huang Tian still threatens Xu Jingming, saying he's going to have a bad time on the test. The girl, Lin Qingli, tells him not to worry about it, and that living a normal life in the city wouldn't be so bad. On the registration form, we see that higher education is split between liberal arts and martial arts. Those who choose martial arts have to go to a specific area and fight against dangerous beasts. Only after passing this exam can they enter a university for ability users to train. Xu Jingming thinks that even if he avoids the test, he can't escape the beasts that could invade at any moment. That's because his parents in this world were taken during a massive invasion of these creatures in the past. He doesn't want to face danger again without the power to defend himself, which is why he's determined to get strong. With great conviction, he chooses to take the martial arts exam to change his own future. The scene changes to late afternoon, with the sun already setting on the high school's horizon. We see Xu Jingming's silhouette training hard with a spear inside a room. His hand grips the weapon firmly as the electricity from his ability completely envelops it. With a shout, he swings the spear with all his might and unleashes a massive amount of energy. After so much effort, Xu Jingming is completely wiped out and too out of breath to continue training. He then collapses to the floor, unable to practice anymore, and just lies there for a while. He thinks that even after training with the spear for 2.5 years, he's still at a beginner level. Xu Jingming also remembers that the casualty rate for lower-ranking students goes up every year. But he gets up determined, saying that if he wants to get into the university, he'll have to fight with everything he's got. He approaches a strange panel on the wall and touches it with his fist, which starts to glow. A blue screen suddenly appears in front of him, showing that his system is being activated. Xu Jingming is completely shocked by what's happening and starts breaking out in a cold sweat. The message says the activation was successful and asks if he wants the starter pack. With a sly grin, he wonders what could be in this gift package for him. When he opens it, the screen shows the reward: an S-rank super ability and 200 more skill points. An S-rank ability is so rare that it takes 3 to 4 years for someone to awaken one in the entire country. Even though he's a worthless E-rank, Xu Jingming realizes he now has a chance to challenge fate and change everything. Without a second thought, he accepts the gift, and a bright light shines around his hand. The system shows that the package has been redeemed, and he's gained 200 points and a super ability. Suddenly, his heart is enveloped in lightning and begins to receive the new S-rank power. Xu Jingming's body is overtaken by a very strong electrical current, and he screams in pain from the process. The energy is so intense that a blast of lightning ends up destroying everything around him. The room's window can't handle the pressure and shatters into thousands of glass shards. Outside, a woman with her daughter look up at the building and see smoke coming from the apartment. The neighbors get worried about the situation, and one of them grabs their phone to call the fire department. Meanwhile, Xu Jingming keeps screaming that it hurts a lot as the transformation progresses. On the street, people find it strange because the sky has suddenly turned dark and filled with heavy clouds. At the top of a building, a giant dragon made of lightning simply appears in the sky, sending everyone into a panic. In an office, a man feels the pressure of the thunder and wonders if it's an invading beast. A high-ranking official then orders the 3rd Legion to go on high alert immediately. The lightning creature continues to roar in the sky as it moves through the dark clouds. The electric dragon then descends from the heavens and heads straight for Xu Jingming's apartment. He screams in pain as the process reaches 100% and the transformation ends. In the spot where he was, a cocoon of pure energy forms, with the window completely shattered. His hand clenches into a tight fist as purple and white lightning arcs from his body. He smiles and says this is his new ability, and now he's incomparably stronger than before. Looking around, he realizes the noise was a little too loud and the room is completely wrecked. Xu Jingming then remembers the 200 skill points and wonders what they're for. The screen explains that the points are obtained from beasts and can increase levels and abilities. He smiles and says he loves this kind of simple cheat, then opens the system panel. His stats show the new S-rank ability and 200 points to be spent. Xu Jingming decides to use the points to maximize his combat power for the next day's exam. He then chooses to first improve his basic attributes, which are body and mind. The numbers on the screen start to climb rapidly as the points are distributed. A dark aura with lightning envelops his body as he receives the power boost. He's surprised by the feeling of having his energy and mental power increased. Xu Jingming clenches his fist tightly, feeling the power flowing through his entire body. He moves quickly, testing his new agility and throwing punches in the air with incredible speed. With his basic attributes improved, he realizes everything becomes stronger and more enhanced. The screen shows that his attributes increased by 20 points, and he calculates the conversion. He feels confident about the university but wonders what his standing is among the other students. Xu Jingming steps on his spear, which was lying on the destroyed floor of the room. He picks up the weapon and decides to go to the martial hall to test his exact new stats. Suddenly, his room door is kicked open with a very strong blow. A few firefighters rush into the room, and Xu Jingming has no idea what's going on. The team leader says they received a rescue call about a fire at the location. Xu Jingming explains that it was just a fluctuation from his training, and that everything is under control now. The firefighter understands the situation and reports over the radio that the emergency has been resolved. The firefighter is impressed that a student could cause such a commotion with his power training. The fire truck drives away from the scene while the neighbors watch everything with curiosity. A neighbor asks if he's okay, and Xu Jingming replies that everything is under control. To become a full-fledged, superpowered individual, one must train their physique and mind to increase their power. He arrives at a large white building where two famous martial arts halls are located. One of these halls costs 100,000 a year, just for rich kids, while the other is free. In the hallway, he runs into a group of students talking, and a girl recognizes him. We then meet the protagonist's cousin, named Tang Q, who is there with her friends. The long-haired girl in a school uniform is introduced with a confident pose. Xu Jingming walks over and asks what she's doing at the Thunderclap Martial Hall. She replies that she's just there with a friend, while the other girl seems embarrassed. He says he understands and tells them he's heading to the training room to practice a bit. Tang Q's friend asks who the handsome guy is, and she thinks he looks different than before. Tang Qi reveals that he is her cousin Xu Jingming, and that he's also taking the martial exam tomorrow. The friend with purple eyes gets a crush and says he would make a great boyfriend. Tang Q then reveals he only has an E-rank ability, disappointing her friend. A guy in the group comments that it takes a lot of courage to compete in the exam with such a low-ranked ability. Tang Q says she'd rather he didn't take the exam because it's too risky. She then changes the subject and invites everyone to check out the martial hall. They walk away as Xu Jingming enters a training room to practice with his spear. Holding the spear, he feels that it's lighter and realizes his physique has gotten stronger. He regrets that the exam is tomorrow, as he doesn't have time to find a better weapon for himself. Xu Jingming then decides to test his full strength, but without using his power enhancement. With a deep breath, he prepares for the attack and focuses all his energy into the movement. His hand tightens its grip on the spear's handle to deliver the blow with precision. The young man spins his body and swings the weapon with impressive force against the target. The tip of the spear hits the target dead on and creates a very strong visual impact on the material. The scoreboard reads 321, and the target, which is made of a special metal, begins to repair itself. He celebrates that his physical strength has doubled, since most awakened individuals only reach about 100. His eyes glow with electricity as he decides to test his new thunder ability. Purple lightning starts to crackle around his body, and he focuses for the new attack. He attacks again, this time with his power, and the scoreboard shoots up to 3021. Xu Jingming is impressed with the S-rank power, as the average for a user is 1000. He smiles confidently and says that this isn't even his full potential. Holding the spear, he plans to use his physical strength and combat techniques together. He moves with agility and strikes the target once more with the electrified spear. With a quick spin, he uses his whole body to power up the strike with the weapon. A sphere of purple energy forms at the tip of the spear, concentrating all the power. With a mighty shout, he unleashes his special technique called Lightning Gale. The strike creates a vortex of energy that rushes with full force toward the target in front of him. A strong tremor shakes the building, and a student wonders fearfully if it's an earthquake. On the same floor, Tang Qi and her friends lose their balance from the force of the shockwave. A classmate of Tang Chu notices the strong energy fluctuation and states that it's from a powerful user. Her friend wonders who it could be, since this floor is only for high school students. With a determined look, Tang Q decides to go check where all that power came from. The wave of energy seems to be coming from nearby, and suddenly, Xu Jingming appears, turning the corner. She calls out to him and asks if he's already heading home, and he confirms he wants to prepare. The classmate wishes him good luck on the exam, and as Xu Jingming walks away, they head to the room. The group then arrives in front of the training room and sees the door completely destroyed. Looking inside, they are shocked to see the target destroyed and the room in pieces. Tang Q's friend is astonished by the power that pierced through the target's memory metal. One of the boys says it can't be a student and that maybe a stronger user came to test their power. Another boy agrees, saying that not even a genius from the capital could do that. The girl with short hair then suggests it was Tang Q's cousin who was hiding his strength. The boys laugh at the idea and say he's just an E rank with an attack power of 300. The classmate then suggests the person left through another hallway, which is why they didn't see them. Tenki walks up to the destroyed wall and touches the marks from the attack. She analyzes the hole in the wall and realizes the marks were made by a spear. The girl then remembers her cousin with the spear and gets worried about his exam. The scene changes to a blue sky, and finally the day of the martial arts exam arrives. At the exam site, several students gather in front of the buses that brought them there. The students chat excitedly among themselves while carrying their weapons for the big test. Su Jingming arrives at the site holding his spear and prepares for the challenge ahead. The students are startled to see a unicorn rhinoceros and realize the exam will be brutal. A long-haired guy says arrogantly that they shouldn't be here if they can't handle this. Su Jingming's best friend Lu Ji asks who the guy is and finds out it's Zhou Minjiang. That guy has a B rank ability and has already become a first-order user. Su Jingming observes the genius and wonders which of them is stronger at the moment. Suddenly, a loud voice gets the attention of all the students present. A man named Wang Heiyang introduces himself as the chief examiner for the martial exam. On top of a jeep, he explains that the test will last for 12 hours in a ruined city. The location is divided into 4 areas, and students will earn points by taking down the beasts there. The examiner warns that the central area is for the best of the best, and that they shouldn't risk their lives. Su Jingming thinks that before, he would have only dared to go to the perimeter, but now he can go to the central area. The professor starts handing out the exam supplies to the students at a table. Su Jingming picks up his kit, and the professor informs him that it contains 3 items in total. The items are a watch to track points, a backpack with supplies, and a safety sphere. The professor warns him that the sphere ends the exam, but his life is more important. The purple-haired girl Lin Qingli runs towards Su Jingming and calls out to him. She invites him to join her team and says she'll protect him during the exam. A teammate of Lin Qingli complains that he'll just get in the way and doesn't want any dead weight. Su Jingming's friend Lu Ji gets angry and says they can't go back on their word. The guy who complains says he doesn't want to carry dead weight in the exam and have it hold them back. Su Jingming then says goodbye to them, thanking them for the invitation, and Lu Ji gets irritated with the situation. He smiles and says he plans to go alone, that they can go ahead and form their team. Lin Qingli asks if he's sure and advises him to be careful. One of the guys in the group says mockingly that it's good he knows his place. Lu Ji's teammate suggests they team up with the bully Huang Tian. Su Jingming smiles confidently and thinks he can get a high score even without them. Finally, the martial arts exam kicks off for real, and a swarm of drones activates to broadcast everything live. The students rush into the ruined city, full of determination for the test. Su Jingming's cousin also enters the city with her teammates to begin the trial. Several other students are shown running and preparing to face the exam's challenges. The genius from the other school, Zhou Minjiang, moves forward with his sword, ready for battle. Su Jingming runs with his spear and says excitedly that the unified exam has finally begun. He presses a button on his watch that makes a noise and activates the tracking system. A blue screen appears in front of him and confirms his identity and admission number. The real-time ranking shows Zhou Minjiang in first place with 7 points. Su Jingming sees the scoreboard and thinks it's time to start moving and get some points. He then decides to head straight for the central area, since it's a long way there. The ruined city is shown with its destroyed buildings and rubble everywhere. He runs through the city streets looking for beasts to face in the exam. Suddenly, he finds a fallen student on the ground who's been badly hurt. He realizes the boy didn't have time to use the safety sphere and understands the risk. Su Jingming thinks that if he hadn't awakened the S-rank ability, he would have ended up just like him. He gets closer and sees that the student's watch is calling the logistics team. With his eyes glowing, he senses a strange presence approaching him from behind. A paw with sharp claws steps on the ground and gets ready to attack him. A shadow cat leaps toward him, and he realizes it was a trap. The beast stares him down with its bright purple eyes and prepares for combat. Su Jingming gets into a fighting stance with his spear as the cat approaches him. The animal's claws glow with a blue energy as it runs into attack. With a swift movement, he dodges the beast's attack with his spear. The shadow cat dashes past him at high speed and gets ready to attack again. The animal is known for its agile body and sharp claws, making it a hunter of newbies. The beast roars angrily, showing its sharp teeth and its eyes glowing with fury. Su Jingming holds his spear and remembers that beasts possess an aura that intimidates their prey. Rich families hire bodyguards to get their children used to beasts from a young age. He thinks that he never had that privilege and is facing a beast for the first time. The shadow cat leaps toward him and glares at him with its claws, ready for the attack. He holds the spear firmly and envelopes it with his thunder ability for the strike. With a quick movement, he attacks the shadow cat and defeats it with a single blow. He realizes the beast aura has no effect on him and is surprised. He gains 3 skill points and learns that beasts are also divided into ranks. Taking down beasts gives him skill points, but unranked ones give very few. He decides to head to the central area, since the beast's auras don't affect him much. Along the way, he defeats several beasts like shadow cats and iron-furred pigs. He defeats several monsters and gains a lot of skill points from each one. Su Jingming thinks that even with his ability, he still needs more combat experience. He realizes his new ability consumes a lot of energy and doesn't even last an hour. Since the exam lasts for 12 hours, he decides not to use up his abilities before the central area. He continues to take down beasts with just his spear to gain more combat experience. Suddenly, a rhinoceros with enormous horns appears in front of him, ready to charge. The beast runs toward him and throws a car into the air with the force of its attack. Su Jingming prepares for combat and runs toward the rhinoceros with his spear. He jumps over the beast and gets ready to strike the weak spot on its back. With a precise blow, he hits the rhinoceros and defeats it with ease. The beast falls to the ground, lifeless, and he celebrates his victory. He notices his speed at taking down beasts has increased and wonders why. The system screen shows that his spear technique has evolved to the intermediate level. He wonders what would happen if he improved his spear technique even more. Upon using the points, new advanced spear techniques begin to flood his mind. Su Jingming is impressed with the knowledge he has acquired from upgrading the skill. With a confident smile, he says he can't wait to test his new power. Meanwhile, Lin Xingle's team walks through the city in search of beasts. She thinks she saw Su Jingming quickly pass by them. A teammate says she must be seeing things as it would be too risky for him. She's unsure, but worries about her friend and wonders how he's doing. Suddenly, one of the guys in the group finds a lifeless rhinoceros on the ground. They analyze the beast and notice the wound was made by a long-handled weapon. Lin Xingle remembers the figure she saw and wonders if it really was her friend. A teammate doubts he could have defeated the rhinoceros since it's a C-rank beast. Her friend suggests they check the rankings to clear up their doubts. Lin Xingle looks at her watch and sees he's in 46th place with 256 points. Her teammates are shocked and can't believe someone with an E rank is doing so well. Outside the arena, the audience watches the exam and comments on the students' performance. The director of the Education Bureau praises Zhou Minjiang for his strength and skill. He congratulates the principals of the first and third schools for their students' good performance. The director then criticizes the second school because its best student is only in 18th place. Principal Zhao Yo gets annoyed when he sees he only has 8 students in the top 50. The principal wonders who Su Jingming is, as he's never seen that name before. Professor Chen Fan is shocked to see that his student is among the top 50. He wonders if Su Jingming was hiding his strength but doesn't understand how an E rank became an S. The professor despairs because he can't get any footage of him, as only the top 10 have cameras. The scene shifts to the ruined city, where the exam continues at full steam. Su Jingming finally reaches the central area where the danger level is very high. He steps on a broken glass bottle while walking through the deserted streets. He notices the number of beasts has decreased, as ranked beasts have a sense of territory. He feels a presence approaching and prepares for combat with a focused look. A tiger with blades on its arms leaps from behind a car and rushes toward him. The first ranked beast is an armed blade tiger, and he prepares for the fight. Su Jingming celebrates his luck at finding a first-ranked beast right after arriving. He says the beast is perfect for testing his new and improved spear technique. The tiger roars fiercely and prepares to attack the young man with all its strength. He gets into position with his spear and prepares for the confrontation with the beast. He spins the spear skillfully and gets ready to use one of his new techniques. The tiger leaps toward him with its claws ready for the attack, and he faces it down. The beast backs away in fear, and Su Jingming wonders if that's all the tiger's got. He smiles confidently and says the tiger will make him use a little more effort. With a swift movement, he advances toward the tiger to finish the fight. He strikes the tiger with the spear and manages to wound the beast with a clean hit. The tiger roars in pain from the wound and prepares to counter-attack with more force. Su Jingming gets into position with his spear, ready to continue the battle against the beast. His blue eyes shine with determination as he faces the tiger in front of him. The tiger's eye glows with an intense blue light as it prepares for an attack. The beast roars with all its might and gets ready to use its special abilities. He braces for the tiger's charge and holds his ground. With a powerful attack, the tiger creates several copies of itself to confuse him. Su Jingming dodges the copy's attacks and looks for the real tiger. He realizes the beast has great vitality and that it still wants to fight. The tiger and its copies charge toward him for a final desperate attack. He says it doesn't matter how much the beast struggles, because it will all be in vain. With a shout, he unleashes a large amount of blue energy from his spear. The attack hits the tiger dead on and sends it flying with the force of the impact. The beast screams in pain as it's hit by his powerful blow. He prepares for the final blow while the tiger is vulnerable on the ground. The beast falls to the ground lifeless, and Su Jingming celebrates his second victory. He gains 14 skill points and notices the amount is higher than before. The exam grounds are a treasure trove for him, as he can level up quickly. He decides to seize the opportunity to get as many skill points as possible. The scoreboard shows Su Jingming in 32nd place with 328 points. Professor Chen Fan is congratulated by the other teachers for his students' performance. Suddenly, Su Jingming's ranking climbs to 25th, and he gains 44 points. The director of the Education Bureau calculates that a low-grade beast is worth 14 to 16 points. Su Jingming's school principal notices that the watch updates every 4 seconds. The bureau director is impressed, as this means he defeated several beasts quickly. The school principal says he just found out about the student's strength now and knows nothing. The director asks Professor Chen Fan to explain his student's talent in detail. The professor reveals that Su Jingming only has a weak E-rank electricity ability. The director is shocked and asks if the professor doesn't remember the student's talent. The bureau director says the student must have other qualities to have gotten this far. He decides to wait and see if the boy can break in the top 10 of the rankings. The bureau director thinks that way they'll understand how he got this score. The professor and the principal are shocked when they see the new update on the exam scoreboard. The screen shows that Zhu Jingming has climbed to 9th place in the overall exam ranking. His cousin Tang Qiu in 12th place realizes he was the one who caused the tremor. The first place contestant Zhou Mingyang is surprised to see an unknown name in the top 10. Finally, a camera starts broadcasting footage of Zhu Jingming fighting in the arena. The footage shows him fighting with mastery and defeating beasts with his spear. He smiles with satisfaction and says the efficiency in the central area is much higher. Just then, he sees the drone and realizes he's already among the top 10 contestants in the exam. Zhu Jingming says the top 10 is just the beginning and that he doesn't plan on hiding. Before heading to the core area, he decides to boost his strength one more time. He realizes that to level up, he needs to learn ability cultivation method. He then decides to continue improving his basic attributes with the points he's earned. With his attributes increased, he feels great and ready to head to the core area. The core area has the highest danger level, and there, several tigers are devouring a beast. One of the tigers steps on the lifeless beast's head, showing its dominance. Zhu Jingming observes 9 tigers and identifies their king by its size and aura. He gets ready to attack the group of beasts and says it will be a great harvest. With a focused gaze, he prepares for the battle against the group of tigers. Suddenly, he senses a presence and says he's already found them, telling them to come out of hiding. Zhou Minjiang appears and is surprised that Zhu Jingming found him even with his stealth ability. Zhu Jingming recognizes him and asks, surprised, if the other student already knew him. Zhou says he knows all the strong contenders in the core area and guessed it was him. Zhu Jingming realizes the other is eyeing the tigers and accuses him of wanting to steal them. Zhou denies it and proposes they team up to defeat the group of tigers, which is very strong. Zhu Jingming refuses the offer and says confidently that he's enough on his own. He stumps his foot hard on the ground and prepares to charge toward the tigers. He approaches the group of beasts with his spear in hand, ready for battle. He climbs onto a truck and prepares to face the group of tigers surrounding him. The tigers roar at him and prepare to attack all at once. He notices the beasts are intelligent and are using a simple attack formation. The group of tigers snarls at him and prepares for battle, their eyes glowing. Zhu Jingming jumps off the truck, and the Tiger King roars loudly to intimidate him. Zhou Minjiang watches from a distance and decides to see if the boy has anything special. He gets into position with his spear, and a blue aura starts to envelop him. He spins the spear skillfully and prepares to use one of his techniques. The tigers charge toward him for a coordinated group attack. With a quick movement, he attacks the tigers with his spear and strikes them. The tigers' claws glow as they try to counter-attack him. He manages to defeat several tigers and gains many skill points. The bodies of the tigers fall to the ground, lifeless, and he continues to fight. The Tiger King's claws glow with a golden energy as it prepares itself. The Tiger King charges toward him with fury, ready for combat. Zhu Jingming laments that his physical strength isn't yet enough to defeat all of them. The Tiger King uses a red aura and prepares for a powerful attack. He finds himself surrounded by the remaining tigers and braces for battle. With a deafening roar, the Tiger King shatters all the windows of the surrounding buildings. He looks up and sees shards of glass falling toward him. Zhou Minjiang shields his head from the glass shards with his hands. Zhu Jingming says the tiger can't scare him, even if it tries to intimidate him. He throws his spear with force and defeats another one of the tigers with a precise strike. The Tiger King charges at him, and he prepares for the confrontation with the beast. He runs along the tiger's back and attacks it with his spear in an agile move. The beast glares at him angrily and prepares for a counterattack, baring its teeth. He gets into a battle stance and prepares to use his abilities. With a powerful blow, he strikes the Tiger King and sends it flying with great force. His eyes glow with a dark energy as he readies himself for the final blow. By defeating the Tiger King, he gains another 20 skill points for the feat. Zhou Minjiang is shocked to see that he defeated all the tigers by himself. Zhu Jingming celebrates the great harvest of points as the tiger's body falls beside him. He decides to go find the next group of beasts to continue earning more points. Zhou stops him and asks how he managed to defeat the tigers with a spear. Zhu Jingming replies that he's a lightning type and walks away, leaving Zhou behind. Zhou is outraged by the response and thinks the other is being dismissive. He looks at his score and realizes Zhu Jingming is about to catch up to him. The scoreboard shows that the hero has surpassed Zhou and taken first place in the rankings. The audience is impressed with the boy's mastery, and the director calls him a genius. The director congratulates the principal of the second school and promises a recommendation for the city. The principal of the second school cries with emotion and says his school has finally shown. 3 hours later, in the core zone, the sun is already setting on the horizon. Zhou Minjiang wonders where all the beasts in the core zone have gone. He finds other students and asks why they are all gathered together. Tang Kuai explains that Zhu Jingming defeated all the beasts and they had to team up. Zhou is shocked and says it's impossible, as there are too many beasts in the core zone. Tang Qi shows him the scoreboard and tells him to see for himself. He is in disbelief when he sees the protagonist has over 3,400 points. She explains that he defeated nearly 200 beasts on his own in the core zone. Zhou finally understands why Su Jingming wasn't worried about him stealing his prey. The group decides to team up to try their luck in the innermost part of the core zone. The purple-haired girl invites Zhou to join them, and he accepts the invitation. Su Jingming sits on a pile of beast bodies to rest under the moon. His supplies are running low, and the exam is nearing its end, but he wants more. To get more points, he decides to go deeper, but he needs to get stronger first. The system screen shows he has over 2,400 skill points. With a mischievous grin, he decides to use the points to upgrade his special ability. With his new power, he feels ready for the finale of this year's combat exam. Zhou's group and Tankyu rush to the innermost zone for the final challenge. A giant beast with red crystals appears and the final run of the exam begins. Su Jingming wonders which second-order beast was arranged for the exam. Zhou's group is surprised to see the giant beast that has appeared in the arena. They discover it's a bloodthirsty wild bear with glowing red eyes. The beast easily destroys a car, showcasing its brute strength and power. Zhou says the bear's hide is as tough as an alloy, and one blow could take them all out. Tankyu suggests they abandon the mission because it's too dangerous. They realize the area is filled with other high-level beasts ready to attack. She says she's going to quit, as it's not worth risking her life. Suddenly, the purple-haired girl points out that someone is approaching them. Tankyu is surprised to see it's her cousin walking toward the beasts. Su Jingming moves forward with his spear in hand, ready for the final confrontation. He leaps with agility and prepares to face the horde of beasts alone. The purple-haired girl gets annoyed with the test, and Tankyu worries about her cousin. He startles the horde of beasts, and they rush toward him to attack. Under the moon, he faces the beasts with his spear, fighting with bravery and skill. The beasts charge at him, but he manages to defend himself from their attacks. The horde of beasts surrounds him and prepares for a mass attack to defeat him. All the beasts leap toward him and completely envelop him with their bodies. Zhou's group watches the scene with concern, and one of them says it was reckless. Tankyu decides to go help him, as she can't leave him behind. From within the horde of beasts, an intense purple light begins to shine brightly. A blast of lightning sends all the beasts flying, and Zhou's group is startled. Zhou remembers what Su Jingming said and wonders if this is his superpower. Su Jingming emerges from the lightning blast with his spear in hand, ready to fight. He realizes that with physical strength alone, it's difficult to handle high-ranked beasts. With a confident smile, he says his S-rank superpower is overwhelming. He stands in the middle of the bodies of the beasts he defeated with his lightning blast. The giant wild bear glares at him angrily and prepares for the final confrontation. The beast roars with all its might, showing its sharp teeth and claws. He says the bear is big and slow, and with his power, it should be manageable. The remaining smaller beasts charge toward him to attack first. He decides to clear the area first so he can focus on the horde as boss. With his eyes glowing, he prepares to use his lightning and spear skills. He moves with speed and creates several copies of himself to fight. With his clones, he attacks the smaller beasts and defeats them with ease. He continues to fight with mastery and quickly defeats all the smaller beasts. He wonders if this is the power of an S-rank superpower on his physique. Su Jingming says the power is enough to take care of all the ferocious beasts. He defeats a unicorn rhinoceros with one blow and gains another 15 points. The giant wild bear charges toward him for the final showdown of the exam. The wild bear smashes the ground with force, creating a shockwave that destroys everything. The beast approaches the bodies of the smaller beasts and prepares for the confrontation. Su Jingming attacks the bear with his spear and manages to wound the giant beast. The bear gets angry at the attack and tries to hit him with its sharp claws. He jumps over the beast and shatters the crystals on its back with a strike. With the spear, he continues to attack the beast, leaving it more and more wounded. The bear roars in pain and fury and prepares for a desperate attack. He smiles and asks if the beast is angry because its servants are falling. He tells the bear not to worry, as he'll take care of it after the last servant. The bear roars angrily and prepares for the final showdown with him. The beast charges toward him and tries to crush him with its giant paws. He realizes the bear anticipated his move and prepares to defend. With a powerful blow, the bear claps its paws together and creates an energy blast. The beast uses a dark ability and creates several shadow claws to attack. Su Jingming dodges the shadow claws and prepares to counter-attack. He leaps toward the bear and prepares for a final attack with his spear. He says that now there are no more servants to interfere in their battle. With a powerful blow, he strikes the bear's head with his electrified spear. A blast of lightning hits the beast, and the drone broadcasts everything live to the audience. Zhou's group shields themselves from the blast's shockwave with their arms. The audience watches the scene, shocked by Su Jingming's explosion of power. The director of the Education Bureau gets angry and says that is not an E-rank ability. Other directors comment that the boy can fight on equal footing with a rank 2 boss. The principal of the second school suggests the student's ability might have mutated. The bureau director says Su Jingming's name will shake up the entire Xia nation. The wild bear withstands the lightning attack and prepares to counter-attack. It lunges toward Su Jingming and tries to bite him with its sharp teeth. He manages to dodge the attack but realizes it was just a superficial wound. He moves away from the beast to reposition himself and prepare for the next attack. He notices the beast's fur is tough and doesn't conduct electricity. The bear envelops itself in a dark aura, and its eyes glow with a red light. The beast prepares to use a special ability to defeat him. Xu Jingming is surprised to see what the wild bear is doing. The beast splits in two and charges toward him with double the strength. The two beasts run toward him for a coordinated and powerful attack. He prepares for the confrontation with the two bears, spear in hand. He realizes the bear has activated its berserk ability and that it hates him a lot. The two bears prepare for a final attack with all their strength and power. With a powerful roar, they prepare to crush him with their paws. The two bears charge toward him for a final and desperate attack. He readies himself for the attack from the two giant bears with a spear. He realizes the physical strength of a beast in a berserk state is much greater. The beast loses its intelligence and becomes a killing machine that acts on instinct. He decides to avoid a direct confrontation and use his ability to keep it at a distance. With his electrified spear, he waits for an opportunity to incapacitate the beast. He attacks one of the bears with his spear and unleashes a large amount of lightning. A sphere of energy forms at the tip of the spear and hits the beast dead on. The wild bear withstands the attack and prepares to counterattack with fury. His eyes glow with power as he prepares to use his strongest technique. He raises his hand to the sky and summons a powerful divine lightning to attack. A shower of purple lightning strikes the bear and immobilizes it with the force of the attack. The lightning continues to strike the beast, leaving it weaker and more wounded. The wild bear falls to the ground defeated, and Xu Jingming celebrates his victory. He says that not even the strongest defense can withstand half a minute of his divine lightning. The bear's eyes glow with a red light as it prepares for one last attack. The beast charges toward him with fury even after being struck. The bear is paralyzed by the effect of the lightning and can no longer move. He smiles and says it's finally time to end the battle for good. He prepares to use his lightning gale technique for the final blow. With his eyes glowing, he unleashes a large amount of energy from his body. He launches a powerful lightning gale attack against the two giant bears. The attack creates a vortex of energy that envelopes the beasts and destroys them with force. A large fiery explosion occurs, and the bears are defeated by the attack. The beast's body falls to the ground lifelessly, and he lands safely. He gains another 24 skill points for defeating the wild bear. Xu Jingming says it's finally over and that the power of his ability didn't disappoint him. He smiles with satisfaction and says it was the most exciting battle he's ever had. He wonders how many points he'll have after clearing out all the beasts in the area. Night falls and the moon illuminates the sky of the ruined city where the exam takes place. The city's buildings are shown under the moonlight as the exam continues. The final scoreboard shows Xu Jingming in first place with over 10,000 points. The audience and director celebrate the new record he has set in the exam. The director of the Education Bureau says he has already secured the title of provincial champion. Xu Jingming looks at the bear's body and realizes there isn't much time left. He prepares to continue the battle and make the most of the time he still has. He says he has already taken down all the beasts and will now head back to the central area. He walks away from the battle site to continue hunting and earning more points. Zhou's group is shocked to learn he defeated a level 2 beast king. The purple-haired girl wonders why he's going back to the central area. She is shocked to realize he's going back to clear out the remaining beasts. Zhou's group is shocked and realizes he's going to finish off all the beasts. Zhou realizes that if they don't hurry, they won't get any points in the last hour. They rush to the central area to try to get the beasts Xu Jingming left behind. An hour later, the martial arts exam ends, and taking down beasts no longer counts for points. Tangqi looks up at the sky relieved and says it's finally over. Other students celebrate that they barely managed to pass the exam. Xu Jingming laments that the exam ended so quickly and he wasn't satisfied. The students begin to leave the exam area and gather outside. Lin Qingle's group and Lu Ji wait for him outside. Tangqi's friend asks if that's really her cousin, and the young woman confirms. With a flirtatious look, the friend insistently asks for her cousin's contact info. Tangqi says she'll think about it, since her friend wasn't interested in him before. Suddenly, someone announces that Xu Jingming is leaving the exam site. A crowd of students gathers to see the first-place winner of the exam. He leaves the site with his spear on his back and a confident, calm look. The students congratulate him and ask him to give them some points. He waves to the crowd and continues walking toward the exit of the site. Zhou and his friend watch him from a distance, and the boy accepts his score. The school principal approaches and congratulates him on his exam result. Xu Jingming thanks him, and the principal says he doesn't need to take the bus back, as he'll give him a ride. In the principal's car, he and Xu Jingming drive down the road at high speed. The principal asks him which superpower university he wants to attend. Xu Jingming replies that he was so focused on improving his strength that he hasn't thought about it yet. The principal says that with his results, any university will be within his reach. He recommends Qingjing University, where one can enter the official system directly. The second recommendation is Modu University, which offers excellent resources and elite clubs. The third is Jinqing University, which has a long history and ancient traditions. Xu Jingming wonders what exactly superpower cultivation methods are. The principal explains that with a high-level method, it only takes half a year to advance. He assures Xu Jingming that with his results, he will qualify for special admission. He thanks him for the information, and the car continues through the city at night. The night passes and the city awakens with a starry sky and illuminated buildings. The next day, Xu Jingming turns on the shower to take a bath. He relaxes under the water and enjoys the moment to rest after the exam. While showering, he checks his stats and sees he has over 2,000 points. He wonders if there will be competitions to take down beasts at the Superpower University. His cousin and his aunt arrive at his house and see the broken door. They enter to surprise him and find the house completely messy and destroyed. Xu Jingming comes out of the shower in a towel and finds the two of them in the living room. He is embarrassed by the situation and wonders how his room got that way. He remembers that his aunt took care of him lovingly after his parents were gone. The aunt calls him by his nickname and says she was fulfilling her duties as a guardian. She says she was worried about the exam but is relieved that he's okay. Xu Jingming asks if Tang Qiu didn't tell her about his exam result. Tang Qiu smiles mischievously and says it's better if he tells her mother himself. With a shy smile, he says he did well and scored over 10,000 points. The aunt chokes on her drink and is shocked by the score he revealed. Tang Qiu confirms the story and says he scored over 11,000 points. The aunt is speechless at the news and looks at her nephew with pride. She hugs him emotionally and says the Xu family finally has a successor. At a university meeting, they analyze Xu Jingming's data. They decide to recruit him if the score is real, but they doubt his talent. They suspect he used irregular means to get the score. A woman with gray hair tells him to stop arguing about it. She decides to list him as a special recruit and investigate personally in Jiangqing. He receives a message on his phone with his provincial exam result. He is surprised to see he ranked first in the province. With a shout of joy, he celebrates becoming the top student in the province. The news spreads and he becomes the most talked about topic on social media. An awards ceremony is organized and the press gathers for the event. Reporters question the principal about the doubts surrounding Xu Jingming's results. The principal says the exam video is already on the school's website for everyone to see. The reporters watch the video and are impressed by his power. The principal says the results are real and that he deserves a recommendation. He reveals a check for 1 million yuan as a gift from the Education Bureau. A reporter asks to take a photo for the next day's newspaper headline. The gray-haired woman says the video proves nothing and that she needs to confirm his level. The principals wonder why the guest of honor hasn't arrived yet. The principal of the second school says he is training and will be there soon. The principal serves tea to the 3 teachers who came to recruit Xu Jingming. He picks up a cup and prepares to talk with the university recruiters. The principal feels the aura of a high-level superhuman and is impressed. He wonders who the people are who came to fight for the top student. The gray-haired woman introduces herself as the director of admissions for Modu University. The other woman says that if the results are real, Qingjing University will have him. The man arrogantly says that Jin City University already has him guaranteed. The university professors start arguing to see who gets the young man. Suddenly, the room door opens and someone walks in amidst the discussion. Xu Jingming arrives in the room and greets the professors waiting for him. The 3 professors stare at him, surprised by his sudden arrival in the room. The director from Modu praises Xu Jingming for not flinching under the pressure of the 3 of them. The school principal introduces the 3 recruiters from the country's top universities. Director Zhang praises him for his combat ability and impressive techniques. She questions him about his superpower, which no longer seems to be weak electricity. He explains that he was struck by natural lightning and his superpower got stronger. The other recruiters look at each other and conclude it was a superpower mutation. Director takes out a detection instrument to find out what his superpower is. She asks him to use his superpower on the instrument so they can see. He unleashes a large amount of purple lightning that fills the room with energy. The director from Qingjing is impressed by the violent lightning and feels her heart race. The detection ends, and the instrument reveals the name and classification of the superpower. The instrument starts beeping and spinning uncontrollably with the energy it received. Suddenly, the instrument explodes into several pieces, startling everyone in the room. The professors shield themselves from the explosion and are shocked by what happened. The school principal wonders what's happening and is frightened by the scene. The minister from Jin City confirms that his level is at least S-class. Director Zhang smiles and says they bet on the right person this time. The minister from Jin City offers a 4 million bonus and C-class equipment. The director from Qingjing interrupts him and says his offer is too small. She offers a 6 million bonus and free training and equipment for 4 years. Xu Jingming is surprised by the generous offer the director from Qingjing made. The director from Modu says they can match the offers and will also provide an annual resource. The other 2 recruiters are shocked by the offer of the S-class cultivation resource. Xu Jingming asks what this resource is as he has never heard of it before. Director Zhang explains that there are dragon-type beasts with innate power and physique. These beasts are born at level 4 or 5, far surpassing other types. She reveals that the resource is the heart's blood of an adult 8th-level dragon. The other recruiters despair and say they can no longer compete with the offer. They ask him to make his choice among the 3 top universities. With a confident smile, he says he chooses Modu's Superpower University. He explains that the university offers the best conditions and has a high level of training. Xu Jingming thanks the other 2 recruiters for their consideration and says goodbye to them. Director Zhang hands him the admission letter for Modu Superpower University. She says he can enroll early and that they will provide accommodation. He asks if he can consult the university's library in advance. She agrees and gives him her contact card so he can look for her in the city. Su Jingming is excited and says he can't wait to go and register. At the train station, he waits to board the train to the city where the university is located. His aunt cries with emotion and says he has finally grown up and will soar high. The uncle suggests that Tang Qiu also choose a university in the same city. Tang Qiu is embarrassed by her parents' suggestion but agrees with the idea. On the train, he reads the book on the training method he received as a reward. The method is divided into 4 levels, and the higher the level, the faster the training. It takes him half a day to memorize the content of the intermediate training method. Following the method, he feels the special energy wandering between heaven and earth. A plus sign appears on the system panel, but he decides not to level up. He wants to wait to read the high-level training methods at the university. Arriving in the city, he takes a car to the university to enroll. He is impressed by the size of the school's gate, which is 100 meters wide. Director Zhang greets him and says she will take him to handle the admission procedures. She explains that the university covers an area of 40,000 mu, or 26 square kilometers. He says that seeing with his own eyes is better than hearing 100 times. She hands him his student ID, which also serves as a key to the dorms. He remembers the dorms from his past life, which were very different and smaller. Xu Jingming is shocked to see that the dorm is actually a luxurious villa. The director explains that all students live in villas, and his is the most luxurious one. He thinks that a double dorm isn't bad and is better than being alone. The interior of the villa is shown with a spiral staircase and a modern design. The director says the admission procedures are complete and will give him some instructions. She explains that there are 2 main points: the credit system and the mentor system. The credit system is used for everything at the university, from meals to rare treasures. The director says that since he has an S ranking, he will receive 100 credits this year. An artificial intelligence named Eva appears and confirms his 100 credits. The director explains that Eva is the school's advanced AI and each dorm has a subunit. He is surprised to learn that AI technology is much more advanced in this world. The second point is the mentor system, where each student can choose one for themselves. Xu Jingming is surprised to learn he can have one-on-one guidance from a mentor. The director explains that the mentors are high-level superpowered individuals with original techniques. She advises him to choose the dean of the Armaments Academy as his mentor. Eva displays the dean's information, who is a powerful lightning user and a spear expert. She says the final choice is his and shows him the information of the other mentors. He decides that Dean Yang is the best choice for his mentor. Xu Jingming goes to the dean's residence, which is located in a place surrounded by nature. He is impressed with the mentor's residence, which is much more luxurious. An older student approaches him and asks if he is there to request mentorship. He is surprised to see that Xu Jingming is just a newly recruited Awakened One. The upperclassman comments that in previous years, the recruits were of a higher level. He introduces himself as Tan Mingyang, and Xu Jingming says he just registered. Tan Mingyang is surprised that he knows about the mentorship, and Xu Jingming asks about the competition. He explains that the freshman competition is a university tradition. Tan Mingyang says that even for a special recruit, it's difficult to become the dean's disciple. Xu Jingming thanks him for the explanation and asks if the upperclassman is also there for that reason. Tan Mingyang says he has tried several times but was always refused by the dean. Suddenly, the residence door opens and a butler appears to welcome them. The butler invites them in and says that Professor Yang is already waiting for them. Tan Mingyang is surprised by the butler's enthusiasm and by the fact that the professor is waiting. They enter the residence and find the dean and another man waiting for them. Xu Jingming feels the dean's powerful presence and is impressed by his aura. The dean says that Director Zhang has already told him about him and invites him to the training room. Inside the home, we see traditional decor with several antique weapons hanging on the wall. The dean says he saw the exam video and that the guy is strong, but he wants to see his S-level superpower with his own eyes. At that, Xu Jingming prepares to show his power as purple lightning begins to spark from his hand. Then the young man unleashes a massive amount of lightning that takes over the entire room, impressing the older man. The master is stunned and confirms that this is the power of the S-level Purple Sky Divine Thunder. He comments that the difference between his A-level power and an S-level one is something that cannot be overcome. With that, the dean says that with the boy's potential, he has no issue with him becoming his disciple. But he warns that throughout his life, he has made many friends and also several enemies, and the boy could become a target because of it. Even with the warning, the young man kneels in front of the older man, showing his complete determination. He then says that he is willing to become a master, and that he admires those who grew up surrounded by danger. The dean is happy with the answer and accepts him as his 32nd disciple, and the first S-level one. The man then tells him to stand up and hands him a power cultivation method and a battle technique. Looking at the book, the boy sees that the technique is called Indestructible Thunder Body, and it's used to strengthen one's physique. The master explains that the most important part is the technique he created himself, called Indestructible Thunder Body. The protagonist is shocked to discover that this is an S-level combat skill. A chart then shows us that battle techniques are also ranked, and the power he gained is quite high. Xu Jingming thinks that his new master's martial talent is simply terrifying for creating something like this. The older man explains that this technique only works for lightning users and has 13 stages of advancement. He tells the boy to go train with the cultivation method first, and then come back so he can help with the rest. The young man thanks his new mentor, thinking that it's much better to have a guide so he doesn't make mistakes. The master says he has only reached the 10th stage of the technique and is stuck on the last 3 stages. With that, he says that when the technique is mastered, the body can achieve eternal indestructibility. The young man clenches his fist, thinking about the possibility of becoming indestructible forever. Upon leaving, the protagonist finds the other student on the floor and says goodbye to the butler, who walks him to the door. Then, he approaches the guy and asks Senior Tan what happened for him to be in that state. Tanming then complains that to qualify, he has to defeat the dean's disciple, who is only using 1/10 of their full power. The senior thinks the rookie failed too, but the protagonist simply says that he actually passed. The guy is shocked because he's never heard of a mentor accepting a disciple before the freshman tournament. The senior is then left wondering who that boy really is as he calmly walks away. Back in his dorm, we see the protagonist in the training room meditating on the floor to concentrate. He thinks that the energy he feels from the top-tier cultivation method is much greater than the others. With that in mind, and since he has already mastered the method, the guy decides to use his points to level up. Looking at the system screen, he chooses to add the points to increase his awakening level. At that moment, energy begins to flow throughout his entire body as he prepares to evolve. The process seems to be very painful, and the young man grits his teeth as the power builds up inside him. He grips his clothes tightly, and the veins on his arm bulge from all the energy pressure. Suddenly, a huge explosion of purple energy takes over the entire training room. Lying on the floor and sweating a lot, he celebrates that he finally managed to advance to the next level. Looking at his hand, he notices that the lightning around him now has a bluish color. Then, the young man unleashes a large amount of purple and blue lightning, testing his new power. With his new power, he feels 4 to 5 times stronger, and says that now he can defeat the bear with just his thunder. Looking at his stats, he sees that he gained almost 100 points at once and understands why everyone seeks out better methods. Since he only spent 300 points to advance, he decides to save the rest to learn the battle techniques. He thinks that the indestructible thunder body is very important, but it will take a long time to master. The next day, the protagonist returns to his master's residence to continue his training. Seeing the young man, the dean is shocked and wonders how he managed to level up so quickly. He explains that in 20 years he's seen many geniuses, but they all took time, unlike the young man who only took 1 day. The boy says that his only pride is advancing quickly, but that he got stuck on the foundation part of the technique. The master then explains that the foundation uses beast blood and lightning power to strengthen the user's body. Since the disciple has already advanced, the dean decides he will help him forge the foundation that very day. He says he prepared bear blood but heard about the young man's annual resource and negotiated for something better with the director. What he got was the blood essence of a powerful 8th level storm dragon. The boy is moved by the gesture and thanks him, saying that he will definitely repay all this kindness. With that, the older man puts a hand on the boy's shoulder and says they need to start as soon as possible. In the training room, the master pours the blood on the young man's head, who cries out in pain from the contact. The dean tells him to hold on tight as the dragon blood is like a poison to low-level users. Then he prepares his own power to help with the foundation and says that the absorption depends entirely on the boy. The older man unleashes a large amount of red lightning that goes straight into the disciple's body. At that, the young man's back becomes covered in red veins as the master's lightning courses through his body. The protagonist cries out in agony as his entire body glows with the red energy surrounding him. The senior, Lu Ming, talks with the butler and is impressed with the new disciple's endurance, who is on his 5th day. He comments that he only lasted 2 days with a weaker blood, and that the rookie deserves the dragon blood. With an S-level ability, Lu Ming is eager to see the result of the indestructible thunder body. Suddenly, a huge noise comes from upstairs, and the two of them perk up their ears at the strange sound. The senior wonders if the freshman's foundation was successful and runs up the stairs to take a look. With a smile on his face, he takes a peek through the door to see what's going on inside the room. Then the young man sees the protagonist with red eyes, surrounded by lightning and a very sinister aura. He senses the threat of a high-level ferocious beast, and a chill runs down his spine at that very moment. The younger boy then charges at him, completely out of his mind, like a wild animal. Seeing the scene, the master desperately yells for his new disciple to wake up and return to normal immediately. The protagonist moves quickly and tries to attack the senior, who is startled by the sudden aggression. Finally coming to his senses, the young man puts a hand on his head and asks what happened and why he wanted to destroy everything. The dean explains that it was the dragon's blood affecting his mind, since that creature is known for its ferocity. He reassures him, saying the effects will fade as he gets stronger and controls his emotions. The young man is relieved, as he doesn't want to be controlled by his emotions and do something he'll regret later. The master then celebrates that the forging was perfect, with a 98% absorption rate. Lu Ming congratulates the freshman, and the dean introduces him as his senior brother, a 3rd-level user. The protagonist greets the senior, who transfers some credits to the rookie as a welcome gift. Looking at his phone, the boy is shocked to see he received 200 credits, which are worth 2 million. The master says that a senior should take care of the freshman, and the young man understands that one day he will do the same. The master tells him to go home to rest and come back the next day to train with Senior Liu. Returning to his villa, the protagonist sees the door is open and hears a noise coming from inside the place. He then finds a white-haired guy playing a video game in the living room and is completely confused. The boy introduces himself as Li Wentao, his new roommate, and greets him excitedly. The protagonist introduces himself as well, and the guy recognizes him as the top student from Jiangnan province. Wentao explains that he knows about all the new students, but the hero's fame arrived at the university before he did. The roommate puts his arm on his shoulder and asks if he really awakened during the exam with an E-rank power. Xu Jingming thinks that his new roommate is very talkative, and he likes that since he has always hated loneliness. He remembers that he grew up alone in an orphanage and that in school, he had many friends so he wouldn't feel lonely. His happiest days were in college with his classmates, and at a graduation party, he ended up in this world. Even after reincarnating, he's still an orphan, but with a roommate, he won't feel lonely. The boy says enough talking and heads to the martial arts hall to start his real training. Arriving there, the two enter the Thunder Martial Hall, which is the local university's branch. The roommate's jaw drops at how busy the place is and the number of people training. Inside, they see many students of all kinds showing off their unique skills and powers. A large man explains that the public room accommodates 300 people and is made of a durable material. The guy says that if they need to, they can use an individual training room, but the protagonist prefers to stay there. Wentao comments that the excitement is growing as everyone competes to see who is the strongest. The protagonist asks Eva what the pillars scattered around the training hall are for. The artificial intelligence explains that they are challenge pillars with leaderboards and credit rewards. The roommate decides to try the challenge, and the drone announces that he can't use battle skills. He then swipes his student card on the pillar to start the strength test and show his power. The system announces that Liu Wentao's challenge has begun, and he prepares to give it his best punch. Some seniors notice the commotion and comment that, based on his aura, the challenger seems to be just a freshman. Seeing all those people watching, the guy gets nervous and concentrates so he doesn't embarrass himself in front of everyone. With a battle cry, the white-haired boy charges forward and throws a punch with all his strength at the pillar. His fist hits the target squarely and creates a small impact of golden energy on the pillar's surface. The scoreboard reads 476 kilograms, and he boasts, thinking it was enough to pass. But the screen reveals his rank is over 100,000, and the guy goes into total shock at the result. The drone explains that the ranking includes the college's 100 years of history, and he feels completely tricked. At that, the other students start laughing at him, and he turns red with embarrassment over the situation. The protagonist consoles him, saying that his strength is psychic, not physical, and his friend thanks him for the support. Then the roommate asks him to try and save their dorm's honor, and the hero agrees to test his strength. Another challenge begins, and the crowd keeps an eye on the new challenger to see what he'll do. The seniors think he's even weaker, but the boy's name sounds a little familiar to them. Looking at his stats, the young man sees that he has advanced and gained a tempered body after the last training session. With his fist clenched, he prepares to find out what level his strength has reached with his new body. Then the young man throws a fast punch, and a bluish aura surrounds his body during the movement. The blow hits the pillar with massive purple energy, creating an absurdly strong impact on the target. Everyone in the room is left with their jaws on the floor from the force of the punch, and the protagonist calmly stands up. With a focused gaze, the scoreboard shows that his punch force reached an incredible 4,589 kilograms. At that, the system congratulates him for breaking the record, and the new scoreboard shows him in first place by a long shot. The crowd watching is dumbfounded, unable to believe that a freshman just broke the strength record. Two girls comment that the record had stood for over 10 years, and that this is a historic moment for the college. The roommate goes crazy and says that he's his brother now and will follow him wherever he goes. The young man thinks the result was much better than he expected, and that the effect of his training was immediate. The drone then congratulates the student and rewards him with 400 credits for breaking the record. He then asks if he can earn more credits, but the drone explains that the reward is only for the first time. Seeing the other pillars, he thinks about breaking the other records later while his friend shows off for the girls. Suddenly, a bunch of girls surround him, inviting him to join their clubs and offering to help. Not knowing what to do with so much attention, he grabs his roommate and escapes to a private training room. Meanwhile, Lu Ming tells the dean about the feat, and the old man gets mad that he didn't go rest. The senior feels down, remembering that his strength was lower, and realizes the rookie is much stronger. Elsewhere, we see a guy in a leather jacket on his phone with a drink beside him. Upon seeing the news, he gets furious and smashes the glass with his hand, which glows with fiery energy from so much rage. The guy swears he will reclaim his honor that was stolen by the protagonist in the provincial exam. Back in the training room, the young man tests the durability of his new body by trying to scratch it with a knife. The blade simply shatters against his skin, which is now as tough as a metal alloy. His roommate runs in, saying the college forum has blown up with the news and everyone wants to challenge him. With a smirk, he thinks that the fighting spirit of this university is really strong. The roommate offers to go teach those guys a lesson, but the protagonist tells him not to waste his time on it. The scene changes and we see the Battle Techniques Library, a huge modern building surrounded by trees. At the entrance, the young man uses his hand to deactivate a magical barrier that protects the place from intruders. He thinks that with so much protection, not even a 9th level martial saint could break into the place. With his student card in hand, he goes through the turnstile to finally access the library. Upon entering, he is met with an even stronger magical aura and is impressed by the size of the place. 3 receptionists greet him and welcome him to the Battle Techniques Library. The young woman explains that S-level students have special authority and can view all available techniques. With a smile, she thinks that he has unlimited potential and that she needs to become friends with him. He then asks where he can find the lightning element techniques, and she guides him through the floors. The librarian accompanies him to a room and explains that he can enter using his student card. Once inside, a drone informs him that he can choose the techniques online and receive the manuals later. The protagonist asks to see all the lightning element techniques from grade B and up, and the drone complies. Several holographic screens appear in front of him with a huge list of techniques for him to choose from. 2S and SS level techniques catch his attention with powers to create storms and summon thunder. He is impressed with the variety and wonders if he can view all those techniques for free. The young man realizes he can only learn grade A techniques for now, and that the others have prerequisites. To make things easier, he takes out a list of recommendations his master prepared for him so he wouldn't waste time. With the list in hand, he and his clones begin to search for the recommended techniques on the holographic screens. He then chooses 4 grade A techniques: Thunder Lance, Thunder Weapon, Thunder Flash, and Thunder Present. The young man thinks that the combination of the 4 techniques with his body will leave him with almost no weaknesses. The drone informs him that it takes 6 months to learn each technique, but the young man says that will be enough. Next, the librarian hands him a stack with the 4 manuals for the techniques he chose. He's shocked thinking about the price of grade A techniques and how luxurious it is to receive 4 books at once. Opening the manual, he feels the technique's aura and understands that a copy could never reproduce that. With that, time passes quickly as the protagonist concentrates completely on reading the manuals. He remains focused on the books, sweating a little from the effort of absorbing all the knowledge from the techniques. We see the young man turning the pages with great attention, so as not to miss any important details from the books. Finally finishing everything, he throws himself back in his chair and tells the system to add the points. The system then uses 800 points to level up all 4 techniques he chose to the elementary level. Looking at his new stats, he sees all the skills he just learned and the points he still has left. With a clenched fist, he wonders who will be the first lucky person to experience the power of his new techniques.